Hi there and welcome to part 3 of the to-do list app. If you haven't checked out the part 1 and part 2, I have shared it on the description box down below. So today we're going to start with the data storage, which we'll be using the one from IONIC. So IONIC has a data storage plugin that you can use, and you get it on this page. I've shared the link of this documentation. So what you need is just install this on your app, and then you'll be able to use the data storage. So this just stores the data inside your device. So as a user uses this and store the data gets to be stored on the device rather in the server. Alright. So it's more like a local storage. So to do that, we copy that line and we install because we're using Angular. And yeah, let's just go through the documentation, and so we're going to follow through the Angular method of doing this. So first we need to import this into an app module, which you're going to do this right after this. And then after if you want to use the other pages, you do have to import it and inject it on the constructor, and you'll be able to use storage. Or rather, if you want to use it in a service, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to create a service where you just have a service as a place where you just render all the database implementation methods, so that you don't have to do the updates on different pages, the deletes on different pages while using storage. You're going to use it on one single page, and this is how you're going to do it in that tutorial. Now that our thing is installed, we're going to go to the app module. Now guys, the app module process is very important. If you don't import into the app module file the storage, you will get an error of null injection or provider not found, which most of you usually get, and that's because you kind of skip this process of every time you use a service or plugin, you need to import it under your app module. See, that's what I'm doing now, so I'm gonna paste that there, and then don't forget that there is imports. So as we already have imports that are there, we're just gonna add a comma and add on to our imports like that, a whole part like that. Now we have installed and setted the storage on our IONIC app. We are ready to use the storage APIs. Let's go through the list of APIs that are there. We have the set, we have the get, we also have like the clear and the other APIs. So we're gonna implement all of them, since our app will be using some of the functionalities there. So the next part we need is the service. Like I've explained, we're gonna use all the storage functions underneath one page, which is a service. That will just make our job very easy, like have the entire thing underneath the one page of the storage. We just call the method there and it does the process for us. Okay, so I'm gonna generate a to-do service. So a service like to-do, like that, and it's just going to create a service for you. It's going to rename it to-do service. So when we get inside there, we need to import the storage and inject it underneath the constructor. So I'm going to go through the documentation and see how they import it. Import that line. I'll take it. And I just paste it there, and the other part here to inject it there in my constructor. Now I am able to use all the API functions of storage in my app. So remember, we need to add to the storage, we need to delete, we need to update, and then we need to retrieve the task. Okay, so I'm just gonna create an empty method for all of those, and then we're just gonna implement as the tutorial carries on. Okay, so when that is done, we're gonna just go back to our add a task page and just quickly recap on where we left from that in part 2. So remember, we're adding to an array and we're changing that to not just storing in an array, but storing inside the storage, which will keep the task there even after you refresh your your app, or if like the user just stopped the app and comes back and they can see their things again. Okay, so let's just see how the structure was. So the new task object was okay, let me just quickly add on this and let's see how it is. So we're not going to change anything on the objects. We're going to save this inside the storage exactly like it is. Okay, so we have all that cool. Okay, so we are going to use the storage.set to set our values. So the set works with like how it has a key as well as a value. So you send in two parameters, the key and the value. The key should be unique to every single record that you put. So it's more like a primary key or unique identifier key. So if you use the same key for the same use a same key for different records, it will update instead of adding a new record. Okay, so now what we need to do is go to our service and use the .set storage.set method. But before we do that, we need to create the storage first. I almost forgot that part, which is crucial. So I'm gonna have like an init method that will just have to execute every time the service is being called and every time that we want to use the storage. So the storage cannot work until you create the actual record without creating a table. So we're gonna say the storage can create this one, and then I'm gonna make sure that this method is called inside the constructor. You can have like the creates inside the constructor. You can have it like this. It's very important. You need to create the storage before you work with whatever inside the storage APIs. Okay. So now that it's done, we're gonna go ahead and then start using our storage. Remember, we're gonna use the storage.set, which needs a key and a value. And this key and a value, we'll be getting it from the add task component, right? Good. So now we're gonna say the storage.set. I'm gonna pass in that value, whatever the key that we'll be getting, as well as that value we'll be getting. So here we will need to call that service add and add that thing. So before, remember that we need to have our unique identifier as the key. Okay, the key needs to be identical, so it shouldn't not be the same and in different records. All right, so the unique thing that we can use is let's use like the name of the item and then combine it with the date. I think that's two things that can be like identical with each record, right? So you could just use anything. You can generate random key numbers or whatever you might want to record as a key. Remember, each record task should have a big key. So I'm gonna use that one. The method of having just combined the item name as well as the item date as our key. So when that is done, I'm then gonna call let's make this synchronized. Spell. Okay, so I don't have the service inside this component because I haven't injected it in my constructor. So I'm going to inject the service because I want to use it on this page. Okay, so the task, remember our task is expecting the key and the value. Remember the value is that object already we have placed it in a very nice way. Okay, so when we execute this should store the item inside the storage instead of the actual array that we initially had. Okay. Now to make sure that it does not store something that is empty, I am going to use the if statement to test if the unique ID is there. If it's not, it means that the user have not entered the user ID, or have not entered the dates as well as the item name, so we don't have to save those. So I'm just going to have that if statement there, and have like if you are D is there, then you should go ahead and use the storage. Otherwise, let's just say concept and then see task there. So it's going to say on the log line we have. So this is where part you can add like a custom show message, say this is empty or this not safe because you haven't entered anything. Alright, cool. Now let's look back when we are inside the home page. So inside the home page, there is this on did dismiss, which was originally made to push inside the array immediately after the person just entered OK, add to the task. But now we're going to change this to say if this is on, if this occupies, it means that the user have entered the right stuff and the data inside the storage. So now what do we do? So what we want to have here is get all the array from the storage. Alright, so we're gonna have a method of get all the task. So we're gonna use this to just refresh our array with the updated storage task that will be pushing every time somebody adds the add task to the storage. Now remember, we don't have that inside of a service, so we need to go ahead inside of a service and call the storage to tell it, hey guy, we need every stuff that we have stored inside the storage. And how to do that? We're going to use this API called storage for each, and that will help us get that storage stuff. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see how this works. So this for each, this returns a key, value, and as well as index of every record inside the storage. So we need to therefore have the task container. We will be actually storing every stuff that is being returned here, and inside here we are going to say this task is equal to we're gonna push it to that array. For that, I just want to log what's inside the key as well as the value. Let's just log the key because usually I just like to see what I'm dealing with before going ahead and just continuing with stuff, and then later on find out that okay, stuff are not working out and I'm not sure where it actually went wrong. So here we need to call that get the task from the service so that the method could be called and we see exactly what we are getting in return. So here we haven't used the service. I'm going to inject the service right there so we'll be able to use it. So I'm gonna call the service dot get all tasks. So it's not expecting any parameter. So yeah, let's see how it works. First we need to get to call this inside the constructor so that whenever the projects get to inside the home, it calls every task that is inside the storage. Let's see if this works. So yeah, this is what we get. So this is inside the storage. So you see that line inside the service, what unlocked. So this is actually inside there. Let's just test it out with the second one and see if this works. Okay. The keys is okay. Let's see the line that just been locked. So when we are logging the key, it actually returns the entire things that are inside. I don't know with this plugin, but I feel they just mix things up. Instead of value, they said it's keys, but I'm not sure how. But maybe I'm the one who's wrong. But the key actually is the value when it comes to them retrieving the whole thing using the for each. So you see now, let me try to refresh and see if I have two things inside my storage. Yes, I have two tasks inside my storage. The one that I previously added and the one that just currently added. And yeah, inside our storage. Now the only thing that, okay, let's see the values. The value should be the dates and the name and the dates as the unique ID for the each records. And this is what we get to. So you see now we are actually moving into something good and it's positive. Now we can just really move on to the next step. Radius. Now we need to push this inside that array and return that array inside the home so we could display it inside our home page HTML. Okay, so the key, remember the key here is actually the value, and then the value will be the key. So there's a mix here, but we're gonna call this in our array the key, and then this the value we're gonna store it inside that value container inside this JSON format array. This is how we're gonna store it in our array. Okay, there's an error there, I'm not sure. Okay, I used the wrong name. So there's not this task. It's actually the task because we declared inside this method. Okay, cool. I don't. So when we are done here, we are going to return the task that has the values. And when we call this method inside our home, it will return everything. Let's call this task as approval consistency. Okay, cool. So when we are done here, when we call this method, it should return an array of keys and values inside the storage that it has every record that a user has stored. Okay. So when we have this, let's make sure that you have the right stuff. And to do that, I would advise you always console.log. You will never go wrong. You will not miss any bug. I just makes our lives easy. Okay, let's see, line 36. Line 36, you see we have two things there, and we've pushed into our array, and now our JSON format is in this way, which is cool. Okay, now we know that inside our home, we get to have all the stuff that are saved inside the storage, which is awesome. So now our to-do list is not some random array we just populate. We are getting it from our storage, and to populate this array now, we're going to say this to-do list is equal to this line. This whole entire line returns that array inside the service class. So now we're going to save and see inside our HTML. So inside our HTML, we used to say item.item category. You see now we have key and the value, so you cannot see those things inside because inside our front end. because now when you're calling item category or item name, it cannot refer to the right address. You need to put the right address, and the right address should go inside the array, then the value, and then item name, which is why nothing is showing yet, but still our array is there. Okay. You see, it just shows an empty thing, but we can see that it has two things inside our array, but it does not show any information because it cannot address to the right thing. So we're gonna go back to HTML and fix that. To fix that, we're gonna change everywhere that says item dot item whatever into item dot value dot item name item. All good, because our item to-do list now is being we formatted it in the way that it has a key and the value like that. I hope it just makes sense, hey? But as you do this, you will see that things are changing, and you'll see exactly what is actually happening. Let's refresh this. You see now it gets the name, so it means that we are directing it into the right address. Great. So I'm gonna change every stuff there that has the item whatever into item value, so that it can get the relevant information inside our HTML. Okay, now everything looks like it's in order. Let's refresh this. We should have our task back, and now we can retrieve every task that it has, and the deleted works. But the delete, it does not work on the storage because it just works on the array because of that splice thing we did there. So now we're gonna concentrate on the delete and make sure when we are deleting, it deletes from the storage. And for deleting inside the storage, we are going to need a key. That key is this part here. We're gonna need this key to delete the record. Alright, and then we're gonna say key here. I'm gonna send in from the HTML side, we need to send the entire thing. So remember, we sent an I for the index, but now we're just gonna send an entire item. No, actually, we can send in the entire. No, actually, we just need the key, right? So we're gonna say item.key will give us that value, and inside here we have that key. So make sure that we have the key. If we need to log, we need to always make sure that we have the right stuff there. Let's see, if we click delete, it will log in that key, and as soon as we have the key, it's easy to delete from the storage. Okay, see, we have that key. Remember, it's the item name as well as the date that I just saved. Oh. Alright, now that we are done, we are going to go to our service. Inside the delete task, we are going to use this API method that they have, the remove, start.remove. Let me just copy that and have it there. Okay, here we're going to receive the key from the home page, and this will therefore delete. Okay. Okay, now let's delete one storage and see if it works. So when I remove this and refresh this, you'll see it is gone. The reason why it's not showing immediately, it's because we are not refreshing, but the record says that item has been removed. To do that, we will underneath delete. After deleting, we're gonna call the .get task, so it could refresh on the current state inside the service, the storage, which is this part, and then it updates the array. The array will then be sure to send us the right data that is remaining inside of the storage. Now let's just put in another task so we can just show you the example. Let's refresh to get. We also need to do that underneath here. Refresh our task inside our home page. Here inside the add, after adding, it should refresh the array of tasks. So like alright, so immediately when I add a task, it should show. So let's test if it works. So I'm gonna add a third one, and just to test if I'm gonna call this one. Just to test if like it's really showing immediately after adding. See, now it's showing there. We have a task. So we also need to see if when I remove, it will remove even in my UI immediately. As you can see now, it works like magic. Now let's jump straight to the updates. Okay, so we're gonna add exactly what we have on our add component. Add task component, we're gonna copy all that and paste it inside our update component for consistency. All right. So now that is done, we're gonna go to our home page and start doing the update method. So the plan for the updates method is that okay, so I'm just creating a model for this one, just so when somebody clicks updates on that task, it will just pop up the updates model, and then we just update that. All right, now let's test. Okay, now it's popping up. Okay, we have not worked with the dismiss yet, that's why it's not closing. Now our next step that we want to have is we want to, every time we click on the updates, we want every data that is on the selected record to be on the other side. Okay, right, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Right, so every time you click on that, and then it populates everything. So what we need to do is, when the model is presented, we are sending in a value of the task, and we're going to use the component prompt. So this is like the placeholder. We can name it task, you can name it anything, but the part after you add the next side, this part is the actual record of the task. So we will get it from the HTML. This is why I'm passing it to inside that parameter there. So this is a selected task, and I'm going to get it here. The selected task here, from here, it is the item. Remember, item, it has the thing, everything that we need. So I'm passing it the item here, and that is that one in the parameter. I'm passing it through the component prompts. That's how you pass things from a model to a page model. So let's just log. I'm going to log the selected task to see if it's the actual one. Because, you know, I just like to test things out and see if we're working with the right things. So now press updates. Yeah, it should log that part there. It means that we are in the right track, right? So we're gonna see if we can display this into the model when it's presented on the other side, which is the updates page. To get that information from this page, we will therefore use the input from the side, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that here. So you just, on top of the constructor, on top of there, just initialize input, right, in a bracket, and then The name that you use as a placeholder the other side, you name it that one. You're gonna name it task. So we named it task that side. Remember, the first letter that you put in the parameter on the component prompts is the part that you will add. You will let me just import that. You will add on this side, okay? So on the input is part of that import there. It was just importing that part here. So from this side, I want to check if it is the actual task that we need to populate in this component, right? So on the add, remember we're going to do it exactly, not exactly, but almost similar as the add. So everything that is inside the add.ts, I'm just going to copy it and paste it underneath the update, because I need the item names and all the fields that were there in order for me to display them back inside the update. So I'm just gonna copy and just paste it there for so it's just gonna be easy to do that. So everything that I had, like how I populated the categories and other stuff, I'm just gonna add them here. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm taking the task that I'm passing inside the updates to see if it actually gets received. In that case, we can then populate the fields inside the update. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So here it is called the task, right? So it means the task that was sent through the other page. Let's log it this side to see if it actually displays the right stuff. All right, let me. Okay, so it displays the right stuff. What we need now is to populate this the fields that are here, like the item name with the stuff that is been passed through. Because this is a two-way binding. Whenever I populate item name in the side, it will populate in the HTML, and whenever I update the HTML, it will therefore update the item name to the current name that has been populated. Okay, so this side we're going to add test.value, that item name, because of how the structure of our JSON is now. So I'm going to do for the rest of the other fields, and then we test it out if now it shows on the other side. See, you see now it's showing everything, the date, okay, the category is not there. We're going to fix the category, but as you can see now it populates the right stuff of the selected record. Okay, let's see how I'm gonna fix the category. I remember category was like a lot of stuff happening. Um, I seem to have missed something there because it's still not working. I'm just going to paste in the selected category method as well because of it was there on the other side. Also because we want to change the categories as well if somebody want to update that. Still not working. So the problem might be in the category selected category. Okay, I need to fix this. How am I gonna fix this? Let's look where we've made a mistake. Okay, things as oh yeah, the task dot value should say task dot value, not task value, not task and item category. That was the mistake there. So it's just small little things that you can't ignore. Um, there we go. I'll just give you a headache, for no reasons. Let's just need to pay attention to every detail. Okay, cool. We now need to work on because everything is there. We get the selected update. We just need now to update the method or to update the record. Every time somebody now changes the values as they see them, maybe they change the item name or the thing, the item, the task category or something need to change in that record. Now remember what I said that the user ID needs to stay unique to every record. So we're not going to change the user ID because if we change it, it will make another record. But if we use the same user ID for updating, it will then update instead of creating a new record. Okay. So now I'm just going to work on the dismiss. So I'm just going to dismiss this model. Remember, this is the model. I'm going to dismiss it every time somebody presses maybe they're done editing or they're just closing the model. ID, we're not changing it. We are using the same key that it has. So remember that task has the key already. So we're going to say the task the key because it already comes with the key. Alright, so now we can use the set method from this side to update. Using the same key so that it could update this record but with new task objects. Alright. So now I'm gonna call the service, which I haven't imported yet. So I'm just gonna inject the public service there on top so I'll be able to use it. Alright, now we're almost done. We're actually just having that service updates. It should accept the key and the new values. So this is inside the service. So I'm gonna set the new value with the same key, which will update. Okay, because we don't really have the updates. Okay. So I'm just going to say that's the storage, should be storage, a new value. Okay, so the reason why I'm going to put in the get all task here is because I want to every time refresh the new list of inside the storage. Okay, and I'm going to therefore dismiss it after they've updated. So the model will just dismiss every time somebody updates this. So I'm gonna update this. Oh, we haven't changed the update thing on. Yeah, I'm just gonna change it. Save. And let's see. So it is not updated. So I'm gonna update this one, reading to writing. So it's not updated yet because it's not refreshed. So let me try to refresh this. You see it has updated. Cool. So we need to make sure that every time I update, the object array gets refreshed, so I could see immediately the changes. So to do that, I'm gonna have the onDismiss function there. Promise to say when this is dismissed, it means somebody has changed, and just show me the new changes every time somebody just load the new task every time it changes that. So you can see now it has changed to blogging. It changes fast. I'm going to change the dates. The dates have changed. I can delete and add again. Category added. And I add multiple, so I could just show you that it really updates and deletes. Okay, category. Okay, then I'm going to change that blocking, change the date, change that, add. See, it has changed. Cool. This is pretty much I think that is pretty much it. Thank you for the feedback, guys. I really like the feedback from you, and thanks for liking this. And yeah, let me know if you want to try out new things on this to-do list. Any more things you can add. Open on the free comment session. You can just suggest anything there, and you can even make this look prettier than I made this one. Okay. And yeah, I hope yours works as well as mine, and that you are learning from my channel. Thank you so much, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like this video, share with your friends. Until next tutorial, thank you.